Welcome and welcome all to our penultimate episode of Queen Court's Games Beam Saber actual play, MEKONG, the space opera adventure set in a universe inspired by Southeast Asian history, culture, and myth. We're so glad you can join us and sticking with us as we dive into our last stretch of this campaign filled with political intrigue and passionate romance and epic mech battles and generational trauma, but you guys already knew that. Our story focuses on a group of people this universe calls the Than Nong, a caste of mech pilots who operate uniquely powerful chassis called KC. Say Selamat Jang, pilots.
Selamat Jang, pilots.
That's what I'm talking about. Through their deeds, decisions, and dice rolls, they will shape their fates in the stars that make up the 7 sectors of the Mekong constellation and grapple with the obligations that drove them to this line of work in the first place. My name is Jerry Law. I'll be your storyteller, game master, director, what have you. To these folks, I'm just a guy who's about to receive a very savage Denny's parking lot beatdown after we're done filming. So first up, man's best friend's best friend, the squad's resident mech racer and envoy, callax'an. Say hello to Ryan Omega.
Hey everybody, I'm Ryan. My pronouns are he, him, and I play callax'an, a mech racer dog lover, even though we haven't been really talking about dogs because we're dealing with the advent of war and spiritual things, so I'm excited to see our dogs again, but until then, this story.
Second, our beloved thespian turned smuggler turned ace pilot playing rupi'a Taiyang, we got Pooja.
Hello! I am also excited to lay some whoop-ass down on a bunch of the adversary.
Next up, onto his third mech of the campaign, 9 episodes in, the street-fighting, war-horsing old man of the party, playing Roman Maximum, we got Andrew.
What's up, everyone? Andrew J. Alandi, pronouns he, him for both myself and Roman. Yes, ice-cold cans of whoop-ass for everyone this episode.
And finally, the princess without a kingdom, but the queen of our hearts, Ordi Vung, played by my dear friend and incredible producer, Queen's Court's own, Clara.
Hello. We're about to I'm excited and scared and mostly scared. And Jerry knows that I know where he lives.
Come get some. As previously mentioned, we'll be playing MEKONG using the Beam Saber RPG, a Forged in the Dark system written by Austin Ramsey, with additional supply drop playbooks written by J-Lo, Philo Hazard, and Alfei DeMille. Also, one more special shout out to our friend of the show, Ariane Lee, for helping compile all the cultural, historical, and religious research that went into creating the MEKONG setting. We love you, Ariane. You can find links to the cast's assorted social media accounts by sending !cast to the chat. And if you are interested in purchasing Beam Saber for yourself or your own gaming group, type !system. It's episode 9. We don't need any further deliberation or introductions here. Let's just get straight into the warnings. There will be themes that some viewers may find disturbing, with depictions of blood, gore, dismemberment, body horror, drug and alcohol use, brutality, politically motivated violence, gang violence, warfare, sexual themes, teen angst, existential crises, excessive use of English and non-English profanity, and as always, some good old-fashioned intergenerational trauma. The cast and I have discussed our lines and veils, and confirm that everyone here is comfortable playing. But if you're watching at home, we just want you to be safe as well. All right. Kính thưa quý vị, tôi xin giới thiệu phim MEKONG. Long ago, when the light of the stars flowed like a river across the heavens. After a long, harrowing journey, the four Than Nong Fellowship known as Team Menagerie arrives at a world at the edge of known space, Celadon. There, the combined forces of the MEKONG Empire's DC armies fight a desperate battle to hold back the onslaught of Gunmak creatures unleashed after Bokap Din broke free of the terraform prison built above her 1,000 years ago. The Scorpion Demon pierced through the planet's surface, and in the process killed the local matron deity overseeing the planet's geologic processes, throwing the entire world's ecosystem into such a chaos that it necessitated direct intervention from a bodhisattva themselves. The forces of chaos and order, darkness and light, and heaven and hell all gather at the edge of the universe to fight a cataclysmic battle. The Mekongese Imperial Defense Army has been whittled down to 4 divisions: the Chow Phraya Exosolar, the Bajak Pirates known as the Lost Boys, the irregular Charia natives, and lastly, Team Menagerie. The group has taken refuge in the ancient guild sanctuary of Dokbal Wat as it aligns with the massive gash in Celadon's surface known only as the Exit Wound. For it is in this wound Team Menagerie's only hope for stopping Bokap Din's reign of destruction can be found. Beyond the ethereal sound of a distant haunting symphony, the sword of Ravana lies impaled in the Scorpion Demon's molted husk. Intelligence reports that the sword is guarded by a member of one of their own ranks, Commander Fung Hai Min, the Maestro, pilot of the conquered Maha Kali, now under Bokap Din's thrall. What turned the Huangde Emperor's finest warrior into a conductor of this symphony of madness remains unknown, but only by getting past him can the 4 pilots of Team Menagerie retrieve this mythic blade and put an end to their troubles, once and for all. The Symphony for the Devil enters its final movements. This is the battle where heaven, earth, and hell align, a clash between men, machines, and monsters, between devas, sanghas, and asuras. Will the Than Nong fight hard enough to see the world born anew? Or shall the cycles of suffering remain unbroken as the wheel of samsara continues to turn? Find out this week on MEKONG, Symphony for the Devil. We open on a space station built into the side of an asteroid on the farthest side of the planet Nanyang's orbit. This station, a humble trading post operated by the Taiyang Exports Company, is also a hideout for its criminal operations. Rupi'a, you just got out of jail, and you have been brought forth here to your grandmother's criminal enterprise hideout, where you find yourself in the hangar. Copperpot is docked, and several engineers and technicians begin working on her. Not 8 hours ago, you were in Hornet custody, awaiting arraignment. That is until the charges were suddenly dropped and you were released. As you step foot in the hangar, you look up and you see there's a long rectangular window overlooking this place where you see her familiar silhouette kind of looking down at you. And she turns and you see 2 of her hired muscles kind of come out and gesture that they're going to escort you up to see Dadiji. What's going through your mind right now as these 2 bulky men kind of walk you through the corridors of this space station up to face your grandmother for the first time in about, let's say you had like a 90-day stint in the clink?
I think Rupi'a's still walking around with kind of a bit of a limp and a good, 30 pounds lighter than when she went in. And it's like, I'm still stiff. And I am so relieved. And I'm excited because I'm going to be reunited with my family. And I haven't seen them since everything went down. And I just, part of me didn't necessarily believe that Dadiji would be able to get us out of this.
After going up a quiet turbo lift ride to the floor, the deck where your grandmother is. The two hired muscles walk you up to the door. They open it. They kind of just like push you in and close the door behind you. And you see on the other side of the room, Dadaji is facing away with you in her arms, and her arms are held up in like a T pose, and you see a tailor fitting her for like a sari. There's like an elegant blue and gold scheme, and her iconic cane with a scepter made of a Dongsun honeybee cotton amber hangs on a rack nearby. And as she's getting fitted for this, there's two hollow screens playing in front of her. On the one to your left, it's a cassette recording of like you at 10 playing the lead role, and Sita sings the blues, and you even see like Devinder and Shireen's playing one of the back dancers, and you're kind of like, you know, in the middle of a musical number. And then on the hollow screen to the right, there's talking heads on a news program with B-roll playing of the carnage at New Backor. You see Copperpot zipping across, Hornet DC kind of blasting behind you, and several ships kind of getting torn apart, and cell phone footage and that sort of thing. Dadaji hears the door close. She doesn't look back at you. She just kind of continues letting the tailor do their thing. And
Did
yes. She turns to the tailor. Leave us. Tailor takes their tools and their fabrics and kind of walks off, and Dadaji puts on a suit jacket. You know this, she still hasn't turned to face you yet. She's still kind of like got her eyes passively looking at the screens before, and she says, "You know this family loves you, right?
Of course.
And you love us back, and you reciprocate by doing well in all the things you do, because, as I said, this family breeds excellence. Do you remember that?
Yes, always.
So why is it I ask you to do something you've always done this one time, and you can't?" And she throws the cane across the room, and it slams on the wall behind you, rattling, and it hits the ground. You can't perform!
And I, like, as she throws the cane, like, I flinch. I think it's about to come at me. Tatiji, where are Mama and Papa?
They told me to get you. The Ministry of Justice has sentenced them to 5 years. I had you tried as a minor, and the charges were dropped. Technically, you're 18 on Dongsun, with the way planetary rotations work.
Tatiji. Do you know what Mama told me before we went on this raid?
I know what you're about to say. I know that you take after your mother, and she's... What did she tell you? Please, enlighten me, child. She steps down off like the podium, like off like this elevated, like there's a small set of stairs from where she was standing, and then like kind of walks down. There's like a long table between you and her.
Mama told me that she had found a mole in the organization. She told me that the new Bakor run, she didn't want to do it. Papa didn't want to do it. You see the footage? How many Hornets do you think were waiting for us there?
And how many Hornets have you outrun? I'm sure at least several sectors worth. And I knew this run was hard. I accepted the risk, and I also knew I put my faith in my grandchild that she could follow through. And you know what happened? She got distracted.
What the hell are you talking about?
You are too caught up in your dreams of Nanya Wood Tinseltown fantasies and not focus on what matters now. And this is the screen of Sita Sings the Blues back when you were about half your size, cuts, leaving only the news footage playing behind her. I have been too lenient with you. And you know how much I lost when I was your age? When the Gunma came and decimated our home? I started with nothing. She starts walking towards you past the table. And I gave everything to you. And she finally steps up in front of you and puts her hand on your sabai and lifts it. Remember who gave you this sash, rupi'a? But no, you didn't. You didn't remember. You were,
I always remember, Dadiji. I have always been grateful. I have done everything you asked. And I am sorry that I am not superhuman. But I will not apologize for having a heart. And I will not apologize for caring more about this family than I do about the standing of this family.
I'm not. You're telling me you care about this family, but I see you. How many hours you spend at that little theater of yours with your what?
Heart nurse. The people I want to spend the rest of my life with.
People like us don't get to dream, rupi'a. We're too busy surviving.
You always told me that that's what it was for.
Stop trying to tell stories when we're still trying to survive this one. Turns away and looks out at the copper pod. Get off my station.
What?
Go. And take Durga with you. Only the gods will watch over you now. See how merciful they are to artists.
You'll see. You'll see how merciful that everyone can be. Because I know what's important. And I am going to get Mama and Papa back. And nothing is more important to me than family. Not just the family that you dictate, but the family I choose for myself.
Are you still talking?
No, I turn around and like at that, like just as she says that, I'm out the door. Then just a door close answers her.
And you make your way to the turbo lift, you get down to the hangar, you put your pilot suit back on, and you get in copper pod. What's going through your mind now as you prepare the launch sequences?
If I can get to Dev and Shireen, if we can go together, we can get my parents out, we can get my family. We don't need this. It could be easier out from under Dadi's thumb. I just have to get to them, and there's nothing that the three of us can't do together. They were the people I thought about to get me through those months in custody.
We hold on this shot of Rupi'a in the copper pod's cockpit, and we fade to 2 years later, where you, present day Rupi'a, are in the copper pod. There's like an alarm klaxon ringing. You are on the planet Celudon. You are down one Devinder. Shireen is here and also fighting the same war that everybody else is. As all of you are all, as we left off, we were on Dokbal Wat, this large temple complex carved into an asteroid, floating in like the middle atmosphere of Celudon. Just a moment ago, you were all inducted into the Gilded Order of the Inevitable Spring. You all have clean, monocolored, not copyright trademarked, spanking new pilot suits. Before you is the calm before the battle that's about to occur. So all of you are in your cockpits at this point, making last minute preparations before you get out there. So before I make an engagement roll here, because we're just going to get straight into the fighting.
As I think back to that moment when I bucked Dandichi's yoke off of my shoulders and made the first stand I ever really took in my life. It hasn't been. It all seemed so easy. It's definitely not easy, but I remember who and what I was thinking about when I left for the first time. And I'm still doing it for them. I'm still doing it so that I can build my family. Except now my family is also Roman and callax'an and Ority.
What's the cockpit ritual that you're kind of doing before the war?
They're all the little things that I do before I go perform on stage. Except instead of Sally sells seashells by the seashore, it's like clenching and loosening muscles, and you can see Copperpod go through those same motions. And Rupi'a is like reciting a monologue to herself from one of the movies that we used to go to together.
If you listen close enough on the comm, you can also hear Shireen. Just further down the hangar bay, she is piloting a Kanara type PC, meant to much more slender build than the copper pod, with kind of like wing motifs on like the shoulders and the hip area, and she's wielding twin chakram blades. But you kind of hear like she hears you doing that monologue, and she also is like saying it to herself, just in a meditative cadence. Callax'an, what's your pre-race ritual, and how are you adapting it to combat?
So for him, this is another race, which means his combat ritual is going to start off with just checking to see that everything is online and things are working. And then he goes, all right, hello everyone. So I just wanted to tell you about baby back boosters. You've heard of them, and we're going to get into war. So we're going to see how well these boosters work when it comes to wartime, not just race time. And he makes a few more of those, and those advertisements aren't really going to those sponsors. It's because he realizes this is how he has to normalize everything, because he cannot stop overthinking about how big this is going to be. So as long as he's always on and always advertising, he's going to remain calm. So there's almost like a plasticness to his voice, and there's this wide smile, and that wide smile is just him masking his nervousness.
Before you left Wankaska, Armin did install a Leica pod onto Sparky, and as you like, you're smiling in the rearview mirror, you know, and you see like a little furry scamper in the Leica pod, and you see kind of like the footless but present ghost dog that you met that guided you to the Bodhisattva Maitreya, Argo, appear in the Leica pod, and she's also trying to mimic your smile, but like in the way that like dogs do, where like all the fangs are out, like. And then she disappears, just giving you that extra morale boost for the battle you're about to fight. That even here at the edge of the universe, you got a friend in the four-legged creatures around here. Even if they're not here. You get what I mean.
So callax'an looks back at the Leica pod and immediately goes into sponsor mode. It's like, and in the back, we have Argo!
There's nothing on the camera.
Argo! And we have the Leica pod! The Leica pod where your pets can travel with you in these races, and so that you won't miss them. And it's so important that you travel with companions, and because the companions will remain with you wherever you go. Just like my own team, like Roman and rupi'a and Ority. And we're gonna go into this race, and we're gonna come out swinging. And companions are very important to have, whether they're in these Leica pods or in these mecha racers. And when we are done, we're going to celebrate. We're going to celebrate with these mango lumpia that we've always wanted, these flan, and we're going to get into dessert.
King Bitch, this is Mohammed. You good, boss?
Yeah. Sorry, I was in the middle record. Okay, let me cut that.
When do we get mango lumpia? You better save some for the boys.
Yeah. Do you know what? I know of a place that we can go to celebrate. I'm just thinking way too early, you know?
We got your back.
Well, you know what? I know you do. And you got everybody. I know you got everybody else's back. I'm just going through my ritual right now, and yeah, we're gonna We're gonna do this. Yeah. And callax'an just trails off and doesn't think of anything else at all. He already has overprepared, so all he has to wait is for someone to tell him it's go time, and he's not thinking of anything until then.
Already, I know I said everyone was in the cockpit. I want to say right now, just outside this kind of like makeshift hangar, you are standing kind of like on the wall area at the edge of this kind of asteroid, looking down at this massive sinkhole beneath you that the locals and people around here call it the exit wound, and you can hear the distant bestial roars of the adversary, and you see their shapes moving, and there's kind of like a wind blowing across this wall. Your hair's flying in it. This is not your first battle with the Kanmaya, nor will it be your last. Or will it? It could be. Who knows? But what makes this battle different for her than the previous ones?
I'm standing looking over the exit wound, and it feels so much like the night when I was looking over at Chalfraya so long ago. I want it to feel different, and I'm trying so hard to make it feel more significant. But the truth is that I, in my heart, know it's different, but everything feels the same. I want to summon the gravitas, and I can't. And I think you can see, as I'm standing and trying to go through my own ritual, I have headphones on and I was listening to some death metal or whatever, the like accepted kind of Than Nong. Everyone kind of listened to the same stuff, but it's gone there to Boys Who Cry, and it's gone there to something very different. A song comes on, and if anyone could hear it, it is the silliest sounding thing to anyone who is their age, because it's very like folksy sounding.
Mm-hmm. Some bolero kind of thing. Yeah.
It's more lamb music. It's the very traditional in Chalfraya, and you can see her hands sort of doing this as she's trying to move to it in the way that her family showed her how to. And
somewhat, you feel the presence of someone stepped next to you, and they remove your left earbud.
I immediately hit them.
and Prita like dodges the blow, and you see her holding. She's in the Dragon Marshal lamellar space armor, but she's holding a cushion, and on top of the cushion, there's like a serving tray with a bottle of beer lao and two like glasses like that. Hi.
Hey.
For your nerves? She like raises.
Yeah, I'll take one.
It's bad luck for me to pour my own.
I got you, and I'll pour us both.
As you take the bottle off, you see the cushion. It has embroidered onto it is a something depicting the Chung sisters. Mekong's one of Mekong's ancient war heroes from way back in the day. You see them riding a large elephant mech. And Prita looks at you and takes the glass and looks down at the cushion, and she says, do you remember when we were 18 at the last party before everybody went to the front, and I did that shot with you to promise to bury the hatchet, but then I unburied the hatchet because I overthrew the king because my dad told me to. I don't want to die knowing that I broke a promise. So I'm going to re-promise to on my honor of this last bottle of beer.
You know something? I have started doing more things for myself recently. In the middle of this whole journey to find the sword or whatever.
Yeah, the one that's down there.
Yeah.
Behind the hundreds of evil space demons. Yeah, that one. Yeah.
I step forward and get closer to Prita. And I lean in. And I want to do this for a while, and I feel like if I don't, I'm gonna regret it before we bury the hatchet. And then I punch Prita in the face as hard as I can.
The beer fucking spills.
Damn, that feels good.
The entire base like looks in the direction of the wall as you hear.
All right, I think I can bury the hatchet.
She like recovers, and there's like blood rushing down from one nostril, and she hits you back. just like fucking clocks you up the jaw.
We good?
No. But I have a battle to command, so I think I have to be.
You came asking to bury the hatchet.
I know.
It's gonna take me a minute to get over what happened.
I okay, all right. I told you I was under duress, okay?
Mm-hmm. I can imagine a lot of duress.
That does. You know, I thought coming out here with the cushion, with the trunk scissors on, it'd be all symbolic and stuff like that, but it wasn't clearly because it's okay. All right. She picks up the bottle again. The glasses are shattered all over the wall.
Prita.
Already.
I'm willing to move forward with all of this because you are commanding as well.
We are both commanding.
I don't want to be afraid of you snapping or fucking leading another coup in the middle of a project like this, in the middle of something like this.
Not anymore. I'm not. Oh no. I look, I get it. I'm done watching people our age die fighting wars for old wealthy men back home. I got this job thinking it would be all glitz and glamour, and I realized that you and I and them, we've all been conned. We've all been had. We've all traded our lives for a chance to get ahead of one rat than the other.
Maybe, but this is different. This is not a rat race. This is bigger than that. And
that's what you told me when I came out to you drunk in the briefing room, and that was embarrassing, and I'm taking ownership of that.
I'm not going to be okay with what happened for a while. But we need to survive tomorrow. And I want to know that I can trust the people I'm with. And I trust my family here. So, for what it's worth, I'm going to be okay in this moment. And then we'll figure out what the next one is. How does that sound?
I'll drink to that.
And
The war, sister. He turns and heads to the command center.
I put my headphones back on and just sort of stare back out at the exit wound. And it takes a few minutes, but that motion starts coming back as I try to redo the thing that I've done my whole life, which is just be the most I can be for my people.
The camera pans down to the Concord Malika Roman. You got a killer new suit. It's in a nice what color did we say it was? It was gold?
Yeah, I believe gold, yeah.
Yeah.
Roman's sitting at the foot of the Malika, just sitting against it. And he himself is flashing back to the time when he was still living with Hope. Hope was probably about 6 or 7 years old. It's late at night, and you watch TV, and movies are on late at night that they have to air on TV to fill contractual needs, but you never really watch them. You never really go out of your way. But this one seems to be special to Roman. Now, I'm assuming that Hope is asleep, of course, because she should be asleep. It's late at night. And it's the movie The Replacement Players, which stars Keanu Reeves and Gene Hackman. It's a story about them using replacement players for their sports team. And Gene Hackman, as the coach, is addressing his team, and it's a specific scene. And this scene has always stuck with Roman as long as he's lived. And Coach says, "The truth is, you guys have been given something that every athlete dreams of. A second chance. And you're afraid of blowing it. We all are. But now our fear is shared, and we can overcome it together." And it's fun that seems to be flashing back to Roman at this point. Because this is about the time where he stood up, because it was getting late, turns off the TV, and all I can say is I remember going into Hope's room. She should still be asleep. And just keeping watch over her while she sleeps. And while she sleeps, Roman mentions a small little prayer over her. And I look over Hope, sleeping peacefully. Angels east, angels west. North and south, just do your best to guard and protect her while she rests. Amen. And as I think back to where I'm sitting against the Malika, eyes closed, that's all I can think about right now. Angels east, angels west. North and south, just do your best to guard and protect her while she rests. Amen.
When you say angels east under your breath, before you say angels west, you hear the other Lost Boys also, they like, you say angels east, then you hear them like a call and response, angels west, and each of them like steps out from and they like kind of like, and you say the line back, and they say the line, the next line after. And you see Muhammad step up, is like, Coach, I love that movie. We all do. We watch that all the time on the ship.
Wait.
Devinder loved it too.
Wait, you were all fans of the replacement players? I thought I was the only one who watched that movie ever.
Well, we just recited the thing to you as like a, yeah. No wonder we get along, right?
Look, don't mind me, guys. It's. I've never forgotten this movie in my entire life. I'm going to stand up and address the Lost Boys.
Other pilots start joining in too, because you are also with the Chow Fry Exosolar, you and Francis's former unit, and they're all like standing like on the shoulders of their mechs, or like they're like the cockpits are open. They're all kind of like, it suddenly becomes the old man is dad is talking, and all the kids have gathered to listen to the old man talk.
Listen, I didn't expect that I would be back here having to fight alongside each and every single one of you. I thought my days of war were over. I thought I could live out a life in retirement or solitude, whatever you want to call it. But destiny, it seems, says I have one more ride at the very least. All I want to say is thank you. Each and every single one of you. I know we have the fate of the world, our existence as we know it. For me, this also means a chance to save the one person. That means a lot. So again, I want to thank you all. Because without you, I don't know if I would be able to do this. And some of you heard me earlier mouthing it, but I'll quote a movie that has been near and dear to me, The Replacement Players. I know it's not a movie that a lot of people have seen. I know it had Keanu Reeves in it. I know he had things that he was more important in bigger movies, but this one just stuck out to me. But his co-star Gene Hackman as the coach, again, and I can see it in some of you that we're afraid, we're not sure what's going to happen next. But the truth is, you guys have been given something that every warrior dreams of, a second chance. And you're afraid because you don't know what's going to happen, whether we're going to live through this or not. We all are. I myself am too. But I share this fear with you all. And because our fear is shared, we will overcome this together. So I promise you, come hell or high water, we're getting through this. We're going to see each other through this all. I believe in every one of you. And again, thank you for fighting alongside me.
You see a bunch of people raise their fists, and they begin chanting, "Seraph! Seraph! Seraph!" And they start walking past you and kind of like putting their hand on your shoulder as they make their way to their mechs. And they nod. Each one makes eye contact with you and nods. Shireen, even Zung Zi and his nieces, and everyone at this base, really.
So as they nod, I'm going to nod back to them and acknowledge every single one, because every single warrior here deserves to be acknowledged. And just give them a nod, a pat on the shoulder. We're going to do it. Each and every single one of us. Come hell or high water, we get through this.
The hell or high water. All right. There's this distant sound of violins. And then, almost like the end is upon you, you hear the trumpets and the distant screams of the adversary, all clamoring to eat and feast on every single last one of you. So, your objective, as I've been saying this entire time, is to get Chandrahasa. It is inside the exit wound at the bottom of this sinkhole. There are several Gunma flooding out of it, and they're all going to be sieging the sanctuary. The other two types of Gunma that are opposing you are the shadow form wasps. So think of them as like big swarms of really ugly motherfuckers who will try to dig into your shit. And then lastly is Pokong Mera, which is based on a Malaysian type of ghost. Basically, these are revenant DC. So basically, the battle on Celadon has been so bad that the army has not been able to retrieve everyone's bodies. So people have been left in their cockpits for the Gunma to possess them and and basically turn them into these ogre-looking hybrids between machine and monster. So yeah, those are the three that are going to be kind of like attacking the fortress on this first half of this mission. Do what you can to get past them. They got some tricks up their sleeves, but then once you get past them, then you're going to face off with Maestro, the one who was commanding this army, but kind of went insane, and now he's down there conducting weird European symphonies for some reason that the Gunma seem to respond really well to. All right, folks, time for the big engagement roll. So, I'm going to ask the questions like I always do, and you can decide amongst yourself who's rolling this, okay? And it looks like it's...
I want it.
Roman wants it. Roman wants it. He gave the speech.
Hell
he gets
yeah.
the roll. Fuck yeah, dude. All right.
Our
cool.
Independence Day.
Yes. Is the mission bold? Yes. So that's 1D. So you got 2D right now. Is the mission complex? Not really. You're fighting some motherfuckers and you're going into a sinkhole to fight a bigger motherfucker. Cool. So you're still at 2D. Do you have a tactic that exploits any vulnerabilities? I don't think this was discussed yet. So I'm gonna say no. Is the tactic? Do you have external support? You do. You have the whole backing of all these NPCs here. Yes, Clara.
Would talking to the Wukong people, that group,
The Scouts of Wukong
count as a tactic that exploits a vulnerability?
That's true. They are more familiar with the land than you are. So yeah. So that's
rules lawyering this shit.
That's 4D.
Yeah.
You guys have 4D to roll for this mission. So, as Doja Cat says, let's get into it, ya. 4D, Roman. Put her there.
For crying out loud!
Dang.
All right. I had to refresh Roll20 because it was acting up on me, so there's going to be a little bit of a dramatic pause before I see the results of the... Oh, it's a 3. Oh, it's a 4. Okay. I think that puts you at risky consequences. So you're in a risky position, but it's not desperate. So, but it can get desperate if, things go haywire. But we're starting off on risky. So, good on you guys. All of you take your places in the cockpits. You begin your startup sequences. And just like in episode 1, but this time you hear Prita on the comms like, all wings, this is Dragon Marshal Prita dying. Check in.
King Bitch checking in.
This is Diva. Got my call time right for once, apparently.
Shireen's like, this is Ripper. Don't rub it in.
Seraph's just taking a moment in the cockpit, just taking one last moment to thank Francis. And he said to let you go, buddy. But if you're here with me one last time, I could sure use you. And then he finally turns on the comms. Seraph checking in. All systems go.
I just realized that my call sign is no longer valid. Huh. Nong Tani checking in.
Let's do this. The hangar doors open. Everybody steps out and looks down. You see all these creatures snapping their jaws. And then finally you hear, "All right, guys, pick your targets. Here they come!" Taking air superiority, the Manananggal all kind of start flapping their wings and all start flying up in kind of like a cone right towards the walls of the fortress. You see several of the Chowfry exosolar Kisi. They start like mounting up along the perimeter of the sanctuary, and they throw up their shields. Each of them taking like holographic glowy shapes of different yantra seals and that sort of thing. And the Manananggal kind of like hit him like a bird hitting the glass, and they're trying to like claw through this first shield barrier, allowing the second rank to kind of come through and just start like poking at them with pole arms.
I am going to start by clearing us a tunnel.
Okay. How do you want to clear a tunnel?
So I'm going to use my bow and arrow to clear like a path through the invading hordes.
Okay, cool. Go ahead and make a battle check at risky.
Okay, so that's 3d6 for me. 4.
The copperpod draws its bow, knocks an arrow. The arrow starts glowing, supercharges into a large plasma bolt, and you release it, and it flies past the heads of the your allied Kisi and into this crowd of Manananggal, passes through the shield, and it explodes, and sending a bunch of like Manananggal giblets. It's kind of like raining down on everyone, so there's like kind of like a purple rain of onto the princess and everybody else, but mostly onto Ordi, because I think she's kind of like towards the front of this line. And with that 4, that purple rain starts burning on the kra-su's armor. How do you want to resist that?
Yeah, I've just got armor. I feel like I'll burn the point, like a point or two, just to get that use of
Cool.
that off.
So yeah, so now you no longer have that armor. It was melted by Manananggal guts. So now you know that they got acidic giblets.
Ew.
You have at least a bit of a tunnel there. Through the tunnel, though, now that the Manananggal have kind of like cleared this path, several of these Hokong Mera possessed Kisi try to like jettison through to try to and they start slashing through that first line of shield bearers. But the way that they fight is much uglier than a machine piloted by an alive Than Nong would. They're attacking without regard to self-preservation or finesse. Instead, you see them kind of like pull out whatever projectile weapons they have, and they start disarming. They start like blasting people's arms off and legs to try to immobilize them. So whatever poor souls gets caught in that first fire, you see some Kisi of your ally Kisi kind of like fall, and these Pokong Mera start like ripping into the cockpit to try to eat some pilots. The other thing you note about these gargantuan ogre looking things is that they're all missing heads, and they all kind of like glow a red sort of thing, and whatever limbs that they were missing from previous battles have been replaced by a kind of like shadowy biomechanical material, making them more reminiscent of an ogre than a machine. And as they kind of draw in closer, you hear them broadcast on the open channels, "Help me, gods, I'm so hungry!" Like the last words of their pilots on repeat. Kind of rattling.
I want to pop up and do a strafe along like the back of their heads, like the back of the line, and just see if the superheated claws can get behind them. I'm more nimble than they are. So I want to just rake across everything and see if I can do maximum damage.
Sure. You want to roll a battle check?
All right. Hear me out. Okay, hear me out. I am going to pop up. Kra-su looks so much like the Mananangal that we've just seen flying around, and now I'm covered in guts.
Yes.
I think I'm going to do this. I'm going to burn the ominous appearance.
Okay.
Because I look gross.
Oh, hell yeah.
And just do a strafe along the back line. So burn the ominous appearance to get a change my position, and then roll a battle to strafe the back line.
Okay.
With Kra-su's long, nasty nails.
Hell yeah. Get into
All
it.
right. That gives me 4d6 or 3d6?
It does, yeah.
Cool.
And at controlled position. So, but if you fail this, I reserve the right to make you re-roll at risky.
That's fine. That's a 6.
That's a 6. All right. So, how do you want to do this?
You see, she jumps up, and before anyone else can react, she says, "I got you," across all of the comms, and the fastest her claws have ever superheated, there is a trail almost of dripping plasma as Kra-su rakes across the back line, a little bit like a person just like bapping someone across the back of the head.
You're playing the most violent game of Duck Duck Goose you've ever played.
Absolutely. Just kid dragging their hands across a fence, just bap 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 with these plasma blades, basically.
You slash into all of these frames, and you see some of them like split in half on the way, like just cleaned all the way through. Some of the other ones like for the first half of the line, yeah, you split some of them in half, and the second half of this back line, you play dominoes, and just bring them down. and you see your allies. Now that you've kind of set them up, they charge over this front line, and they start kind of like stomping on the schema and stabbing downward.
You just hear a woo as Kra-su lands again, and she's got the leg of one of them, and she has another one, just hits them together for a moment and throws them aside.
Fuck yeah. All right, that's a point.
I just wanted to hit a motherfucker with another motherfucker.
Knowing that there's Mananangal guts floating around, and we know that they're acidic, what callax'an's going to do is he's going to use Sparky and space physics to kind of like jet past them and move them in the direction that it starts hitting the enemy lines. Because assuming that they're acidic, they're going to be acidic towards like even those enemies.
Are you sure you want to do that?
I know
these are risky consequences, and what you're proposing could work.
Yeah. I know it could work, but
you don't know how far these things splatter.
Correct. I'm going to call on someone to help Jackie to help me navigate and go and just actually tell her, hey, this is my plan. I'm going to go past a lot of these acidic guts and start maneuvering them by going really fast across them and getting them into the direction of the enemy lines. I want to just make sure that I have your eye on it to make sure that that makes sense. If it doesn't make sense, I will think of something else.
Nina's the one radioing back.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, Nina.
So Nina in the cockpit of the Marigold, she's like, you're trying to bait them?
No, I'm trying to take all of the guts that are acidic, that are just debris and remnants that are just now floating, as a result of Rupi'a's stabbing, and just move them in the direction of the lines, almost basically like.
So how are you gonna pick them up?
No,
Giblet tornado.
Giblet tornado.
Acid bombs.
Right. You know how you get a ship going past a certain area of
Oh,
debris,
you
and it
want to
moved
create
that
a wake.
debris.
Yeah.
Yes,
Okay.
that's that. A debris wake is what I am going for.
I like this plan. Let's do it. Okay, cool.
Awesome.
So go ahead. So the Marigold maneuvers right next to you, and you hear the engines of the Marigold start to power up. He's like, and inside the cockpit, you see Nina like putting the ship into high gear, like go fast, go fast. And as soon as he's like, we're going fast. We're putting a seatbelt on, helmet on. Okay, let's roll a maneuver check.
Yes,
Well,
my highest stat.
Great. So that puts you at you're still at risky position, but with Nina's help, you will have greater effect. How's that sound?
Yes.
Cool.
Okay, so rolling a 4d6. Cross my fingers. Yes.
Excellent work. Okay, so so starting on opposite ends of the line, you guys kind of just like fly past each other, creating this big wake of guts spraying all over this kind of like the back line. But the thing you didn't, and it works, and the spray is magnificent, but the thing is when the guts kind of hit the back of the Manangal, it's still the same creature, and they're still undead, and so you kind of just annoyed them. Like it, so that 6 works. But you've now drawn their attention. So several of them break off from the main group and just start going after you and Nina. But that clears the way a bit, so that finishes the clock. But now you have a lot of heat on you, and you even hear Prita get on the comm, Doghouse, you have like 50 bogeys on your 6.
Yep, and that sounds like I'm ready to race.
Look, keep them off. The line's thinning. So,
All right.
with the Maleka, I would like to fly a little above where battle is going and take this nice little fine heavy cannon to try to clear up even more of a hole. Will this help me avoid any of the debris of Manangal guts flying at me?
Yes,
Okay.
but again, it's still a risky position, and there are also other Kunmas still about. Like the so you've only seen the Pokong Mera and the Mananangal for now.
Okay.
You did see in the intel there were wasps about. So
Right. Well,
there's a non-zero chance they might get the signal that you're tasty.
I know I'm tasty. Look at me. I'm
You're
in gold, baby.
Yeah.
Now that being said,
Okay, so what do you want? What action do you want to do?
I'm gonna fire on them with battle. Is that fine? Now I understand that I have to take -1 dice because I still have level 2 harm on me. Is that correct?
That's only if you're using pilot skills. If you're using mech skills, you have no damage to the Malika right now. So
All right, then
Yeah.
let's roll 3d6.
okay, at risky position.
Take a 5.
That's a 5. Okay, so tell me. So run it by me one more time. You use the fine heavy cannon to just widen the hole.
Yeah.
More or
So,
less. Okay,
out of curiosity, what time of day is it right now?
it is midday.
Midday. So you see, as the rest of the squadron is already engaged, you see the Malika fly up and spread its wings, and it's directly overhead as if the sun is at its back.
Hell yeah.
You see the Malika, and it starts to point the fine heavy cannon at the entire group of baddies, and it just starts unloading to try to widen the gap that Rupi'a has already created.
And you see these two magnificent explosions kind of rock the entire side of the wall. It actually blows the whole wall out too. But you've created a wide enough, almost like tunnel in this formation that you see several of the Wukongs start charging through, as well as a couple of and they start kind of like pincering the whatever Morongal are on this front line. So yeah, you have a clear path into the sinkhole now. I'm gonna assume you charge into the sinkhole, yeah, from there.
Yeah, I'm going in.
Okay. As you go in, you hear in your comms whispers. And the whispers they turn into a drone, a buzz. And then rising out from the ground as you try to like make your way into the sinkhole, these hives kind of like rise out from these puddles of black goo, and they produce several clouds of black and yellow, mostly black, wasps the size of like a football, but there's a swarm of them, and they go to you. And they start landing on the arms and the chest of the Malika, and you can see they're trying to crawl in and try to bite off your armor, and you see them spitting like almost like a really messed up eldritch silk material to try to like gunk up your parts. How do you want to resist?
I'm definitely resisting. What I would like to do Okay, what I would like to do is spread the wings of the Malika and begin to spin like a top, like thrusters in reverse to try to use centrifugal force to throw the wasps off my mech.
Okay, yeah. Okay, so we're gonna burn a quirk for that, I think.
Yes,
yeah,
I think we're probably gonna burn. Can I burn common parts for that?
Yes, you may. Yeah.
Right.
This is a maneuver that several Than Nong have done with the parts that they have, and so you go ahead, you burn that quirk, and then you have to burn 2 quirks for this because you only have points in 2 skills under expertise.
All right, then we will burn military workhorse as well.
Okay, cool. And so originally I was going to give you level 2 like immobilization from like bees and stuff like that. We can negate that entirely because you're at risky position. So your maneuver is successful. You start spinning like a top, and it throws all these wasps off of you, and you kind of like rip these little like sticky nests out of your joints and toss them aside, and you come out unscathed.
Oh, I'm totally yelling at these wasps. I'm not your honeybee.
All right. You are the first to make your way into the sinkhole. As you descend, what you hear is what you see, you feel kind of, it's like the exit wound is what many Than Nong who have faced Gundam before is called a void impact zone. So these kind of areas have strange properties because they've been exposed to the Gundam for so long. As you descend, you see that out of the sinkhole, it's not just rock. There's like towering trees. They form walls of like a cataclysmic amphitheater, and the layered vines, they drape down like curtains as the music around you gets louder, and waves of mist start to form as you get deeper and deeper. They remind you of fog machines you may have spent in passing nights on station clubs and that sort of thing. But as the mists get thick, you hear the screams of the dying, but they're not screams of agony. They form like a haunting choir of sorts for this cathedral of ignorance and self-hatred, and they echo through like these stratospheric rafters, heralding the final gasps of an emaciated era of relative peace. And when you get to the bottom, there's all this noise. It's almost like rattling inside your helmet, right? But you know these tricks. You know what the Gundam are capable of. You know how the things they try to do to get in your head. It's just strange that they would adopt music as an intimidation tactic, right? And on the far end, you see this titanic carapace of a scorpion stretching the width of like a football stadium, right? What you presume to be Bok-Apthin's shedded husk. There's a huge gash in the middle of the shell, and sticking out from that gash is this glowing Beam Saber. Its hilt is in the shape of a lotus, and on its its crossguard is in the shape of a lotus, and its hilt has like several Sanskrit carvings on it. And standing in front of this carapace is a Concord Mahakali, the same one from 15 years ago that was there when Francis passed. It looks a little different now. It's dark blue, it's gaunt, and its photoreceptors are like sunken almost. And it wears across its chassis like a tiger skin sari, and around its neck is a garland of geese heads. And each head is like wrapped like a blindfold with a sabai of the pilots that once commanded that machine, but now is just an ornament on this simulacra of one of MEKONG's more intimidating deities. And you hear a voice kind of reverberate through the sinkhole. If the stars do not deceive me, they sent Heaven's will himself.
Heaven's will. That's a name I haven't heard in a long time. I don't know if it's Heaven's will, to be truthfully honest, but what it is, it's the will of a father. It's the will of people who need to be saved. It's the will of a people who want peace.
Is that why you've come here? To save my soul? Angel? Seraph?
I don't know if I can save your soul.
You don't need to. I don't need saving. And you look up and you see in the raft, like on the trees, several mangled, what looks to be bodies, but they're all carrying instruments and they're playing them perfectly. You see lines of violins, violas. There's a horn section. There's a percussion. And hovering just like in the middle of the air with feet that go nowhere, you see this man. He's facing away from you. He's holding a conductor's rod, and he's directing each note, each movement. He wears a powdered wig, a tricorn hat, a long jacket with puffed accents. He looks ghostly, but the way his voice sounds, it's not like the double layered voices that a Gunma would speak. It sounds like he's just talking with really good acoustics. Yeah, the acoustics are great down here. Do you think the fight's worth it? He says, still kind of just going about his little flourishes.
After all this time, you should know the answer to that. The fight is everything, and it's even more worth it now because I have something more to fight for.
Back up top, what would the three of you like to do? Are you still engaged with the onslaught, or what's your plan here?
Once Roman went down, I want to check in with Rupi'a and callax'an, who callax'an seems busy.
Yes, callax'an, you see callax'an zipping back and forth between the spires of the temple with like a flock of Mananangal behind him, and they're all like, and he's just zipping, doing tricks.
I mean, we follow the plan, right? We opened the path. We go down because the sooner we get the sword, the sooner we deal with all of this.
You hear Sharinga on the comms. I'm going down there with you, and you see her kind of take up your 5 o'clock.
King bitch, you good?
I'm good. I'm going back and forth. Question: is Nina with me also? Or?
Nina is also zipping back and forth, just like in different direct. Like she's near you guys. Basically, you ever been to the air show and you see just like 2 prop planes just kind of like bipping, bopping around? That's you and the Marigold right now.
Oh, we're Blue Angelsing it.
Yes,
okay.
Nice.
So he's going to relay to Nina, hey, we're zipping back and forth. Let's split so that it confuses them. So, like, they're obviously following our pattern. And so if we split, it kind of like... what I want them to do is have them follow us, be confused enough for us to have them stall and us attack, or have basically just have them confused.
Okay, cool. Go ahead, roll a maneuver check. That's a 5.
5. Mm-hmm.
Okay. You successfully confuse them. I'm going to put... and so you've distracted them enough that they're not following anyone else into the sinkhole, thankfully.
Yes.
So, and with a 5 at risky position, that particular mover is successful, and they all, like, all the Monogonal flock kind of just like looks back and forth, and to even add more insult to injury, you see an anti-material round kind of like pass through one of them as Muhammad is like taking pot shots while you're distracting them, and he's just like knocking them out one by one out of the sky. So clearly you and your companions have a really solid plan for keeping these guys busy. And for Muhammad, it's like shooting fish in a barrel. For you, you're just racing, and Nina gets to take part too. This is if battle was this fun, you should do it all the time, right? But there's a 5. You hear that drone on the comms, but then a drone to the buzz, and then you hear Nina shouting, "Wait! They're on to me!" And you see several swarms of shadow form wasps start landing on the Marigold, and you even see like Zungzi pop out from one of the hatches and shooting them with a pistol. Like, a little help?
Can I resist that?
Yes, you may. How do you want to help? How do you want to resist and help your NPC companions?
So as soon as he sees that the Marigold is starting to get get swarmed, he's going to maneuver himself and kind of just almost like orbit the Marigold by just continuing going in a very tight circle around the spaceship.
Okay.
And just having his lance kind of held out almost like a rotating spike to just keep them away from the Marigold. Okay, cool. So all right, so let's go ahead and resist. So you're going to use maneuver. You're going to use expertise to resist. Yes, so that's going to be 1. You burn 1 quirk. Okay, I'm going to burn intense G-forces because it's going to be a ride to just keep doing that.
Your face presses up against the chair, and it's like, but it's enough to kind of like using like the wake created by the spinning motion. It definitely also throws some of these wasps off the Marigold and onto you. but it's better that you're the one dealing with them than Nina. So okay,
Exactly.
cool. You have resisted.
Yeah, I wanted to check in with callax'an. It sounds like he's not coming with us. So, rupi'a?
Let's go.
I'll basically swan dive in.
You want to make a maneuver check for me? Let's
Do
do
I
a group
have
maneuver
to?
check since it's the three of you all going in together. Yeah.
Yeah. And I'll be group leader, so I'll take the stress.
Mhm.
And
If
it's
there's
just
any.
our maneuver at a controlled position, correct?
Yep. You hear as you roll. You hear the Ripper goes like, "All right, guys, I'm going in," and you have a 4.
Also a
There's
4.
2 4s.
So many
Okay.
fours.
Sorry,
Okay.
I didn't get that.
All right, but nobody got below a 3, so no one's taking any stress, I believe. But I'm gonna put a point on the Chandrahasa clock here. With a 4 at controlled, all of you also land at Roman's flanks. But you hear Shireen shout, "Hey!" And she kind of like charges ahead because you hear her shout, "Master!" Because somebody got taught. They call him Maestro because also he teaches. And his student, it's clearly his student has a personal mission to get him out of there. But you see Maestro, the floating Maestro conductor turn, and he has the visage of a Gin man. He's just wearing this powdered wig and tricorn hat and everything like that. And his eyes already have the same pupil shape as Kanoa's did when you had that vision, right? Like one of being under Balkaptin's thrall. And Shireen shouts, You can't stay here. You have to come home, please. But she makes eye contact with him and gets void exposed. And there's a bit of a dialogue between him and Shireen. He says, and something changes when he says, I'm sorry, student. When I was your age, when the Kanma attacked just like they did now, the Emperor pivoted our culture towards one of strength and victory alone. There are no room for artists like you and me. It's best you choose this path, because at least down here we can play as long as we want. And she kind of freezes. And
I would like to resist this
sure.
for Shireen.
Okay, cool. How are you going to convince Shireen out of this? Yeah, so go ahead, roll d6 to resist.
I roll 2d6
2d6
because that's how many points I have in
yes.
resolve.
Yes, correct.
So 3. So I take 3 points of stress.
You take 3 points of stress, and what are you saying to Shireen to kind of wrestle her back?
Shireen, he's not the first one. He won't be the last one to tell us that there's no place here for us, that there's no room for artists, that everything must be war, that everything must be success. You and me and Devinder have always known better. You still know better, and I still know better. We'll get through this dance together.
While that's happening, the Kali activates and begins to draw its weapons. So you see a sword come out. It's got the same amount of arms as the Durga, and so the same amount of armaments here. The Kali is going to fire. It's going to open this combat by firing a blast from its eye, just like the Durga has, right? And it shoots out. And I'll say the resistance look, stop me if you're not down with this, is that you shoot a beam back, and it's one of those And this is the dialogue that's being had while you're like having this tug of war between I-beams, right? The maestro shoots back. He says, "They tore my sheets and my cords away from me, and they honed me into the warrior I was meant to be. I fought their battles, I won their victories over and over and over again. But the monsters, they don't stop. They never stop. They will never be room for us."
Then we make room for ourselves.
That's what I did. I turned the battlefield into my concert hall, my tactical manuals into songbooks. But none of it matters.
Because you chose the wrong place. We make the room, we build the house that we want to live in. Is this where you want to live? It's not where I want to live. It's not where I want to live with my family.
The music crescendos around you. The beam does overpower you in that because it's a Concorde and you're just piloting like a mass-produced Durga, and it kind of launches you back, and the Durga hits the back of this cavern. It knocks the wind out of you a bit, so your resistance bumps you down from a level 2 damage to a level 1 damage.
I'm going to use a point of my armor for that.
Okay, cool. So you lose a point of your armor, you hit the back of this wall, and you slide down. But Shireen looks to still be in it. She's like fighting off the void exposure right now. But the rest of you see the copper pod hit the back of the sinkhole, sink down, and show you kind of like how formidable foe Kali is here.
So Kali is engaged with copper pod.
Kali is engaged with all of you. It's got arms for days.
Awesome, possum. Well, it sounds like... Well, and the sword is...
It's behind... Kali is guarding the sword.
Okay. Already and the kra-su are going to do what they do best.
Okay.
And I am going to dive right after rupi'a and Kali and get Kali, and I'd like to grapple Kali from behind, splitting the kra-su the way she does.
All right. Let's go ahead. We're going to roll battle, and it's going to be cool, and you're going to fucking do some shit.
I want to kiss a pretty girl when this is done. Okay. Can I make this better for myself? This seems like a thing I should spend spark on, so I'm going to do that.
Okay, sure.
All right. I'm going to spend my spark, and I'm going to do some battle about it. And that will be 3 dice, and hopefully that will be enough to save my new girlfriend. And it was.
Excellent. So...
they're not at that stage yet, but
I don't want to put label on it.
Labels.
I don't want to put label on it. Your girlfriend, your ex is like right over there.
It's a thing in progress.
It's a thing in progress.
But yes.
Yes. Okay. So with a 6, describe to me what damage you put into Kali here.
Kali and Copperpod hit the wall and start grappling, fighting, whatever they're doing, and
he blasted me into the wall with his third eye beam.
Okay, well, that's not a great place to be. So, kra-su just swoops in and starts by grabbing from behind. I've only got 2 arms, so it's not quite the same, but grabs from behind.
Kali spins to meet you, and then it becomes like an exchange of blow for blows, right?
Except the difference between a grappler and a fencer, or a person who's using a weapon, is once you get under their range, they can't do as much to you.
Yeah.
So the kra-su gets in as close as she can, and while she's engaged with Kali from the front, you see her. It looks as if she's dancing around, trying to make the Kali move and like twist, but her legs are actually staying where they are as kra-su maneuvers around to the side to get in a place where she can wrap herself around her.
You do. And you kind of lock, and in this grapple, kra-su kind of like locks down Kali for a bit here, right? Jaw unhinges, big old chomp, right? And Kali, there's a bit of struggle here. Like you're trying to chomp down through like the armor plating on this mech, and the Kali with its extra arms also kind of like tries to wrap around you, and it becomes like a wrestling engagement there, right? You hear the voice of Lady Tita try to play mind games with you in the middle of this grapple, right? Kali starts projecting voices of every auntie and uncle you've ever met, and every comparison they've ever made, and every little side comment about school, your body, your habits, your friends, whatever the fuck, right? But you I assume you respond back.
Truly just Honey Badger don't give a shit levels of grapple where I've anchored myself wherever I can with these plasma claws, and the kra-su pulls its head from what looks very much like a vampire like attack, and you see it turn as if it's responding, because already so in my body at this point, they're the same thing. And we look at Kali and just go, there is nothing you can say to me that I have not told myself. You cannot hurt me with this anymore. And just it goes back in for another bite.
It's a mess of like hydraulic fluid and oil just kind of like spraying all over the place, right? And the symphony is like matching the energy of the sea. Roman, you have an opening. You can try to go for the sword from here.
Yeah, I was about to ask if there's an opening. I would like to. Can I deploy my shield though as I try to make a run for the sword?
Yeah, you can.
Okay. Yeah, then I would like to go after the sword.
Okay. You you draw your shield out, you hold it in front of you, and Malika starts kind of like running towards the carapace.
Cool. Do I need to roll maneuver?
Yeah, you can roll maneuver.
Tis a 4.
That's a 4. You get up to the bottom of the fallen scorpion. When you get to, I guess, like when you're like face to face with like the head of this discarded massive Colosseum-sized carapace, where the eyes of this carapace would be, they flash, and you get the full brunt of it, of this like flashing light, before you can even climb up to go get the sword, right? And you see a ghostly apparition appear in your cockpit of Hope, and with a knife, it tries to stab you inside the cockpit.
Okay. Yeah, so can I resist this by reminding myself this isn't Hope? Am I able to, does that make sense?
Yeah. You would be, that would again be at a resolve resistance. Okay. 2 points of resolve. So go ahead, roll 2d6. That's a 6. You don't take any stress because you got some spanking new gold fucking guild uniforms. You got a gift from the Buddha. Like, you ain't taking nothing from these apparitions.
So as the apparition goes to
I hate you!
There's this wave of calm that comes over me. And I know this isn't the truth. This isn't my daughter. So no matter what this is, this can't hurt me because this is not my daughter talking. This is not my daughter here.
You feel like there's pain in your chest. It feels like you're getting stabbed, right? But you know it's not real. You know that the Gunmar are just playing tricks on you. And pushing through, you begin to climb up the carapace, limb by limb. Even though this ghastly spirit just keeps jabbing the knife into your sternum, into your solar plexus, over and over, and you can feel that pain like resounding through you. But you are Zen, brother. You're a Than Nong, and you keep climbing.
More than I'm a Than Nong. I'm a father. And I can tell that each of these stabs might represent sometimes that Hope may have felt like I've been a rough dad. Maybe this is something that I didn't pay attention to as a father. These are the things that I might have to bear. But it's worth it for my daughter. And I'm going to remain as zen as possible. Because any good parent is going to do that for their child. And I'm going to keep going.
Wow. Goddamn. Yeah. I'm sorry. I'm like speechless as a game master. I'm like, yo.
Oh my god, Roman is the dad we all want our dads to be.
Kali's head turns towards, like, looks towards the carapace and sees Malika climbing up, and he shouts. You hear Maestro shout, "It doesn't matter. The symphony's almost over. It's all going to burn. There's no point. You can't stop her. This Lockette, she killed a god. What makes you think you can do any better?"
I don't know what makes us better, but we gotta do something.
Alone, we may not be. But together?
The best part about music is that you create it with whoever you want, whenever you want, wherever you want.
Am I hearing all of this?
You are, yeah. And it's rallying every Than Nong up top too. You hear them shout every battle cry across the 7 sectors. You hear Buta Vahana Yantra, like literally soul carrying machines. You hear Sunave, which means like spring is here. Because you are the Guild of the Inevitable Spring. And this is the end of a long winter.
And do you know what music sounds like when it's all alone? Love in you is easy cause you're old. I don't do that.
I literally didn't think anyone could be worse at singing than Devinder, but I was wrong.
Out of curiosity, would callax'an singing have interrupted the level of concordance with the symphony in the sequel?
Yes.
That's the aim.
That's the aim. Yeah. So it but I'm trying to figure out what skill that would be the role.
So I'm gonna say that I have the skill of Rook's Gambit. I can use anything as long as I take 2 stress.
Yeah.
So that is his version of maneuvering into the maestro's head.
Yes.
I will take 2 stress to try to disrupt the maestro.
Okay, you do. Go ahead and roll maneuver.
Amazing.
Oh my god, I'm crying for a different reason now.
I purposely also didn't sing the song exactly in order to avoid copyright.
I promise you, I don't think anyone's gonna be able to tell. That was so good.
All right.
Roll 46, bro.
46.
I'm gonna just finish the clock. That's just, that finishes the clock, dude. That's too glorious not to finish the clock. I had a whole monologue written. I'm gonna throw that out. Fuck that. You heard that.
You fully like Indiana Jones shoots the
It totally was.
Like you see this ghostly apparition of a dude with a powdered wig. And you're like, what? Ah! And Kali also kind of like starts like freezing up in kra-su's grasp, giving Roman enough time to reach the sword. You reach out You place Malika's hand on the hilt. And I know I said Beam Saber earlier. That was kind of a spoiler. It looks like a regular sword at first, but as you pull out, it snaps off like this golden blade, but it ignites a golden beam out from the hilt that glows so bright that it basically flashbangs the entire sinkhole. You hear pinging in your ears. And that's where we're going to go to our break, guys. Thank you for watching MEKONG Symphony for the Devil. We'll be right back after these messages. Welcome back, everybody. You're tuned into the second half of episode 9 of MEKONG Symphony for the Devil. Wow, what this demon swords, crazy, big flash. What a karaoke, saving the day with. Oh man, I know it's like a stereotype about like every Filipino knows how to sing, right? But Ryan, I'm so glad that we are breaking stereotypes today here on our show.
To be fair, callax'an breaks stereotypes. Ryan just knew to try to sing off key, way off key.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing that with us. Yeah. I feel my life is better.
As the person who's worried about copyright strikes, thank you.
Yeah, purposely screwing up my own song. Because I knew what I was singing, and I realized, nope, gotta maneuver.
Abort mission.
In the middle of it.
So, you are all engulfed with like a blinding white light. There's a loud pinging in your ears. For those of you in the sinkhole, all three of you kind of like come to outside of your mechs. And you are the three of you, so Roman, Rupi'a, and Oradi. And you are surrounded by white. Just empty nothingness. You're in your pilot suits, you're in your monocolored guild suits, your savai and everything. You kind of like look around. And then a pig runs by you. Just like it's trotting along. You know that it was explained to you before that there are 3 poisons, 3 tethers that keep Bakapin to this plane, each representing a cause of suffering. The pig, as you recognize, is ignorance. As you see it run along, what do you do?
Time for some pork belly.
You just
it's
like
time to catch the pig.
You start running. Okay, so you follow after the pig, Rupi'a, and I guess your 2 companions, not knowing what to do, kind of just like take after you, right? And you follow after this pig for what feels like about a minute or so until you come across a trail of papers, right? And you see that there's these sheets of parchment with sheet music on them. The pig walks over them, right? And it crumples it beneath their little trotters. And you hear you follow this trail of sheet music, and that becomes you pick one up and you see that it's like handwritten. And it has Roman, you see like it's signed. It says Fung Hai Min, the name of your commander, the name of Maestro's not call sign, his actual legal government name. And you keep following the sheet music, and then you see that the sheet music begins to there's blood on them, right? And the bloody sheet music becomes a long cloth sash that kind of just rolls along, and then until it gets to the end, and there's a piano, and it's destroyed. It's like crushed in, and there is a 12-year-old Gin boy sitting on the bench in front of this piano. And he's hanging his head. All the keys are like tossed to the side. And you see there's more sheet music surrounding him, but much of it is either covered in blood or it's burnt to a crisp. Like as you step on it, it like crumbles into ash. So he's just hanging his head there.
Hey, kid, you all right?
Told me I had all the time in the world in here.
Who told you that?
The Asura. She said she liked my music, and I have all the time in the universe in here. I can play for eternity. I can write all the music that ever was and ever will be, and that because music. Did you know that in string theory, between every tiny little particle in the universe, there are strings, and they're vibrating, and they're playing songs everywhere. The universe is singing, and I get to play it forever in here, away from all that. I don't have to kill anyone anymore. I don't have to. You're not going to take me away from here, are you?
The kid's sitting, right?
Yeah, he's on the piano bench. It looks like, and his piano is just absolutely demolished.
I'm going to sit next to the kid. You can keep playing for as long as you want. Now you understand that. But if there's one thing I've learned about music from my friends and family, there's usually an ending to every song, or fade out, or whatnot. That doesn't mean that you can't play anymore. It just means you'll get to start something new. And the good thing about that is you can take your music wherever you want to go.
That's not what they told me. They told me if I wanted to play, I had to get at the robot, and then I have to fight, and I have to fight and so we can survive, so we can live. And I don't want to do that. And it's so hard.
Hey.
Like, I'll come up and put my rub his back as he crouches over. They told me the same thing.
What did you do?
I found the people that I could surround myself with, and I could act with, and they could dance with me, and we could fight and make art together. Because as wonderful as it is to play your music for yourself, it's that much better when you play it for the people that you love and play it with the people that you love.
I don't have anybody.
I think you do.
Not in here, you don't.
But if you take me away from here, they'll hate me because it wasn't good enough.
No.
If you're not good enough for people, they're not your people. You need to be good enough for yourself. That's the only people you actually have to answer to.
Let's roll a sway check. This will be a group action.
Openly weeping.
Yeah?
Excuse me.
So we're just like we established before. We're all going to roll sway. We'll take the highest, and then the leader will take the stress of whoever rolls below a 3. Before you roll, man, he looks up at you. But the second he looks up, he is now adult Maestro again, and he's sitting in the bench next to you. This older man is about like 15 years your senior, now in his pilot suit, weathered, a little broken. But he looks at you. You don't resent me for the things I did. No, you lost someone close to you that day, and
if there's one thing we learn as soldiers, each of us is responsible for their own destiny. You made a choice. Francis made a choice. I made a choice. I can't go back and change that. But what matters most is what I do in moving forward. If I live with resentment for you, I'll never move forward.
feel free to roll your dice.
2.
4?
It's a 4. Okay,
It's a
so
4.
you guys get a 4. I've seen the strings strumming and vibrating since the beginning of time. All of space, matter and antimatter, they're always playing a concerto. And for a brief moment, I was the conductor.
How did it feel to be the conductor for a change and to create something instead of have to destroy?
It's not a privilege many of us get. It's a shame that I had to take it from the adversary.
We're all grown. We made our decisions. We made our choices. But for what it's worth, sir, it was still an honor to serve under you, despite how this all turned out. You did teach me a lot, and, well, I hope you find whatever peace you can find.
He looks away, and you see the pig kind of walk towards in the whiteness, like a golden door kind of just like materializes. And he stands up, and the pig starts walking in towards it. And he looks back at all of you, and he says, "In another life, I'll do better." And he starts to walk towards the door. And as it closes, the white light in the sinkhole, from like callax'an, from the outside of the sinkhole, you see this bright light. It's like shimmering and shining, and then it suddenly and all the other Kisi and Than Nong, like they're still mopping up the rest of the Gundam, but the creatures begin to beat a retreat almost as the music stops. Just a resounding, and the sounds of the jungle returns.
Hey, teams, it looks like the enemies are starting to go back into the sinkhole. Just be prepared.
As for the three of you, you return to consciousness, right? And you see Kali kind of just like go. Already, you feel like in your cockpit, you feel like the tightness on your controls loosen as Kali goes limp in kra-su's grasp. And Rupi'a, you hear Shireen go, no, 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 and rush over to the Kali. You see her cockpit disengage, and she like climbs out, and she rushes over to this chassis. And Roman, it feels like an echo of 15 years ago as she runs up, tries to undo the hatch to retrieve her fallen teacher.
I'm gonna get out and go to Shireen.
She like rips her helmet off. She like throws it off to the side. She grabs onto the manual release and starts pulling it out, starts turning it, and her hands are burning, but she doesn't care. And you see like tears are just like just waterfalls. And she's like sniffling, and it cockpit seal flips up. She flips it up, and his body in his pilot suit, she like cradles it in her arms. But yeah, Rupi'a, you are before your companion, your old triad mate, as she's cradling her teacher in her hands.
It may not mean anything now. But in the end, he was at peace. And he knew that he wasn't hated by everyone. He knew that he knew that you loved him.
Help me bring him back to base. Please.
Of course.
The rest of the Than Nong begin celebrating. Everybody raises their weapons and they're cheering as the battle is won. People like throwing their people are you see a bunch of Kisi raise their arms, like even back on the command center, like Pri to like wipe some sweat off her brow. Zungzi is like, finally, Nina, slow down the ship. Good gods. Roman, you looked at in Malika. You look down at Chandrahasa in your hand. On the lotus crossguard, you see there are 3 seals on it. One for a pig, one for a snake, and one for a bird. And you see the pig just kind of like crumble into sand, leaving 2 tethers left.
I'm going to put the sword at my side and just salute. We may have been on opposite sides in the very end. But you were still my teacher. You were still my superior. I hope wherever you are, you get to compose some kick-ass music. Maybe I'll hear your symphony someday.
I watch Rupi'a and Roman, and I look around at the space that we're in.
All the instruments are gone now. All the spirits have also all passed on with Maestro, leaving just an amphitheater that nature has made.
I look in. I kind of I get disengaged from the kra-su's controls for a moment and dig around my cockpit until I can find a piece of candy, and I'll pop the cockpit open and hop out. And at the center of the amphitheater, where the maestro's spirit was, I want to leave the thing that I have left, which is an offering, in this space where people have died. Because even if it doesn't work, I want to try. I want to do that respect. And I kind of look at the mech behind me that is still sort of smoldering.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, it kind of counts as a joystick. And just before climbing back in and radioing up to callax'an. We got it.
Is everyone okay?
Yeah, I think so.
Do you need me to get to where you are? Are you going to come back to the Marigold?
I think we're coming to you.
Copy that.
You now are in possession. You can add to your inventory Chandrahasa, the sword of Robin. But yeah, all of you ascend out of the sinkhole one by one, back to the Marigold and back to Dokbal Wat. Let's say we'll cut to that evening where Than Nong do what Than Nong do every time they fucking win a battle, and they get fucking crunk. So the scouts of Wukong bring in all sorts of like local fermented liquors from the and there's that mango lumpia going around as everybody celebrates a battle well fought with minimal casualties. But the four of you, as well as Jackie and Shireen, while everybody else is partying, you are cremating Maestro's body, watching the flames dance in the night wind as distant jungle creatures cry and birds chirp, as nature kind of like returns to dominance over the battlefield. It's kind of like a traditional Than Nong kind of like funerary pyre, where like there's almost like your Kisi are like lined up in parallel, also in respect, while Jackie goes about dismantling Kali respectfully as well. Zhongzi steps in after the more quiet, somber parts of the ceremony are completed, with his hands in his pocket. He's not in his traditional robes. He's more like in a more fitted mouse suit kind of thing, for a bureaucrat in the field, with his hands in his pockets. And he says, "All right, that's one down, 2 tethers to go." Not to interrupt the party or anything. It does look like you guys are partying, that's for sure.
Do we know where the other 2 are? Do we know where the other 2 are?
Who do you think they are?
I can guess at one. And I look at Roman. Maybe another.
I look back at Ority and just quietly nod.
We're not going to lose her, Roman.
I know. And it just so happens that Roman has a glass in one hand and a bottle of something. More than likely some sort of whiskey. We're not going to lose any more of them. Not a single one.
It's a long way back to Chalfraya. He looks up at the night sky. And Orty, you also look up and you know where home is, right? You see that star burning in the distance. The fight is not over. But I understand that now that we have the sword, I'm sure some of you may want to disembark here. And I want to give you the option. I understand that noble politics and such might not be.
Why are you trying to cut us out right now?
I'm not trying to cut you out. I'm just giving you the option because now that you finished the retrieval part.
You think we're going to stop now? Like, I'm going to go, okay, we got the sword, bye, and not care about the rest of the crew and the fact that, we have at least,
okay,
we could at least have a little hope. Pun intended. At least.
Then we finish it.
Yeah, we finish it. And then we'll celebrate by having a few new racers for the new combined Armin Law Bulaklak. I know we have a
racing
name.
Co-op. Yeah,
the racing co-op. Yes.
Precisely.
And then we can make sure that every one of you has all the promotions you need. Rupi'a, we will get you starring roles because after this, your fame is going to be so high that you're going to be cast in so many things. And I will make sure you're cast in things. Angeline is a great agent. Yeah.
Thanks, callax'an.
You're welcome.
And, can't just leave your asshole brother on that throne. I can't do it.
We know. I know.
Like, I can't even pretend.
Okay, so it sounds like we're overthrowing your brother.
We're not.
Overthrowing implies legitimacy.
Well, I do have some bad news. It's not that he is legitimate, but I'll let the paper speak for itself. And Zungzi digs into his pocket and pulls out last week's paper from Chef Wright, because that's the amount of time it takes for information to get out here, right? And he unfurls it and shows you the front page, and it says, Guivung Kanoa declares himself Chakravartin, and Devaraja, God of Kings.
Old man, have you ever in your life delivered good news?
He flips it around and shows I thought the comic section was really funny. Look, there's a little look, and it's like a little bit of bureaucrat office humor. There's like a Space Dilbert thing going on, and it's like a joke only he gets.
I don't get it. What? Why is this?
It's fine. It's fine.
I don't understand the significance of a Monday.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So your brother has declared himself.
Mondays are for pizza.
What's a pizza?
I've heard. Isn't that pizza? Isn't that kind of like a pie with like tomatoes and bread and just
like
random meats?
Yeah, like a roti.
It's like a naan. with stuff on it.
Oh yeah.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
I
would have
Like instead
that.
of inside of it, it's on top of it.
Anyways,
would they do that?
He's declared himself Devaraja, and also there's the army has been disbanded, and it is all Dark Angels now. And you see the photo, and there's like you thought One Morning Star was a really tough fight back on Lankaska, but you see he's like giving a speech in front of like several like dozen rows of these evil dark looking not supposed like you see Gunma hybrids. He's not very subtle about it at all, and your sister's standing next to him and everything, as well as the Archduke Saravan. He's like, so I hope we all have a plan.
I'll think of something. Kanawa was always so bad at naming things.
And it's a good thing we just freed up an army of our own.
Zhongzi, do you know what the nice part about newspaper headlines are?
What?
Is that tomorrow you have a whole new headline.
And the Emperor is taking a very long time to make a decision whether he's cool with it or not. So it kind of is left up to...
I mean, it sounds like we have to make that decision for him.
Sounds like it. And I'll just look over here while you guys make that decision and, assemble an army to go. I'll just, I'm not endorsing anything by any means. No, not at all.
Not at
Not even
all.
on an official mission.
Oh my gosh,
That's true.
yeah.
That's true. Yeah, I'm yeah, but
Oh, look, Zhongzi, look over there. Look over there. Look,
I'm looking.
It's shiny. It's so
Crazy,
shiny.
Something so shiny.
Oh, look, I think Nina's flirting with a boy.
Oh no.
Oh
no.
no! I better go do that while you guys cook up a plan to go and
Do nothing.
do you guys do nothing.
Yeah, just eat these mango lumpia. Like
Yeah. Cool. And if tomorrow someone steals my ship and like goes and does a thing
That'd be
with
crazy.
it, that would be crazy. That would be insane. I would definitely have to include that in my report, and and it would be so awful. So
It'd be terrible.
it would be terrible.
It'd be terrible.
Terrible. So I'm gonna go check up on my niece, and you guys keep fighting the good fight without my endorsement. And he runs off, leaving all of you there. Perhaps you have some time. People are partying and raging all around the fortress right now. So you have tonight to at least blow off some steam. And then in the morning and on the journey back, you can determine what fate awaits Chao Freya.
Well,
Does anyone else feel like a bad omen just left?
A little bit. You know what's crazy? I think Zhongzi leaves the codes and keys to the Marigold in the ship.
observant.
Yeah.
Oh,
So careless.
So careless. We should probably check on those right now, right?
Oh, absolutely. Test them to
Absolutely.
make sure that they're to make sure that we remind Zhongzi that, hey, you just left this around after we make sure that they work.
Right.
Yeah.
We should totally make sure they don't fall into anyone else's hands, because heaven forbid they
Heaven
fall into some.
forbid.
Oh,
Right.
no.
yeah. I
Um,
mean, and if there are emergency overrides that just happen to be written in this crossword puzzle,
That'd be crazy.
like hold up the newspaper.
Yeah. And one other thing. Is Prita around?
Frida is Do you go? You can go off to look for her if you'd like.
I want to like send her a message, not like go, not something that she can see tomorrow.
You find her slumped in a beach chair. Like her armor is like next to her, and she's just like in a tank and like cargo pants and boots, and she's just like splayed out with the flask in her hand.
Is she awake?
Hello.
Hey.
Hey.
Apropos of nothing.
Are you gonna punch me again?
No.
Because we just want to battle together. That'd be like
we
not
did.
Cool.
However, we're not done yet.
Okay.
Someone's gonna steal a ship tonight, and it's terrible.
Yes, that sounds awful.
You should probably mobilize tomorrow when you discover that, and bring
everybody.
Everybody.
That does sound pretty awful.
That sounds awful.
Would you happen to know where these ship thieves, their trajectory would be?
Oh man, it sounds like Chowfrya.
Oh, that sounds serious.
Yeah. But tomorrow, definitely.
Tomorrow, yeah. So you're telling me they're planning on stealing it tomorrow? Okay,
they're definitely gonna steal it.
Me
tomorrow.
and the fellas here, we're going to be on the lookout for any ship thieves tomorrow, and then we will make chase
and meet them at Chowfrya.
I do have some beef with my dad for pressuring me into overthrowing your dad. So,
yeah, I think we can call it square.
We can, yeah. So, ship thieves tomorrow. I'm gonna catch me. We're gonna catch them.
Absolutely.
So good.
They suck.
I'm gonna mobilize this entire warship. She points at the Alacrity. This massive Titanic fucking carrier is like, yeah, and we'll definitely flag them down, and we're gonna engage them in a. Okay, yeah, sure.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely. You want to sit?
I'm okay. I have some packing to do.
Okay. Enjoy the party. I'm gonna lay here.
Yeah, have fun.
Oh, and Ordy?
Yeah.
You got a good right hook.
Thanks. You do too.
You all party for the rest of the night. Reasonably. Responsibly, I hope. Because we cut to the next morning, and as you are stealing the marigold, the four of you, or the callax'an, rupi'a, Roman, you all head up the landing ramp. Even Nina's like, oh no! Not the marigold! But yeah, as you're about to board and begin launch protocols for your theft, you feel a presence behind you. A glowing one. Like you see in your peripheral, like that kind of sparkle of divinity. And you stop. And you turn. And there's a bodhisattva kind of just standing in the trees. Kind of looks like that statue of Guan Yin in the backyard at the palace, but her visage seems very familiar.
I'm gonna wave.
And she does one of these.
I'm gonna say it more. I don't think she can hear me, but I'm gonna say it anyway. I'm going to finish this so that the next time around, everyone gets to do exactly what they want to do. If this world is suffering, we're going to make it so that there are the moments that are sweeter by comparison.
She smiles. Ramp closes, The marigold begins to lift off, and several dogs run past the Bodhisattva's feet and start chasing after the ship as it starts cruising out into atmosphere. And then everybody else at base is like, "Oh no, not the marigold! We better get after them." But they take their damn time out into space again. And Orty, you head back up to the cockpit where Nina's like, "Oh no, I'm being held hostage to fly this ship. What are we gonna do?" But yeah, you look out and you see the stars, and you see where the Viangchan sector's burning Daystar all the way out there, and you know the way home. It's the second star to the right, and straight on to the morning. Thank you for tuning into MEKONG, Symphony for the Devil, guys. This has been episode 9. I'm Jerry Law. I've been privileged and honored to be your storyteller for this game. Be sure to join us again for episode 10, our final installment of this adventure. So everybody put your hands together for our lovely cast. This is your time to shout out your socials, projects, other work you got going on.
All right. Hi, my name is Ryan Omega. You have seen me play callax'an. You could find me on social medias under Ryan Omega or Ryan OMGA, or my YouTube channel, my newest YouTube channel, Geek Public, which is a series of different panels that were inspired by convention panels, but made and filmed for YouTube, meant to be accessible if you are any kind of a geek who likes discussion or wants to learn things like content creation. I bring many people onto the panel who will break this down for you so that you too can be inspired to make content.
Hi, I am Pooja. I've been playing rupi'a Thayang. This is Salvador. He has been playing So Cute. And you can find me on the internet as Forgotten Saves. If you want to hear me play more TTRPGs, you can find me on Happy Jack's RPG Network and the back catalog of 12-Sided Stories.
Yeah, I shall jump in next. What's up, everyone? Andrew J. Landy. I play everyone's space dad, Roman Maxilom, pronouns he, him. You can find me Instagram and Twitter at Andrew J. Landy. Also on Blue Sky as Duralath, which is my gamer tag for when I play Street Fighter. I do play Street Fighter incessantly. Would love to talk with you. But anyway, follow me there for any updates that are going on. Got more to announce in the upcoming days ahead. So again, thank you all for tuning in, watching, and enjoying this space opera with us. This has been nothing but a treat and a pleasure to share with this cast and you, the wonderful viewers. So again, thank you and bless you all.
I'm Clara. I've been playing Ordi Vong, the Exile playbook from this series, from Beam Saber. Oh my god, thank you everyone. We're almost done. I'm all over the internet as clearly _golden, unless you're into mermaids, in which case it's mermaid_clarity on Instagram, and clearly golden, no underscore, over on Blue Sky. I'm here and at QCG. I'm over at Happy Jacks playing games. Keep your eyes peeled on both. I'm a producer on both ends, so I might have things coming down the pike in the next few months. We will see. I just gotta finish editing these episodes. I guess when you watch this, I'll have been done. Thank gosh.
That's true. That's true.
Woo.
Thanks again for tuning into MEKONG. If you like this game, please be sure to check out Beam Saber on itch.io. If you like us and want to see more, please sure to follow Queen Squirt Games on all the socials and on Patreon. I'm Jerry Law. It's been an honor and a privilege. Fare thee well. Stay hydrated. Tell someone you care about you love them. And you can also follow me on Instagram and X and whatever, Twitter or whatever, at my Jerry Amore. Okay. Tell somebody you care about you love them. Peace.